What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we're giving you a state of the market and stock picks for March 23rd, 2022. So let's get right into state of the market. We are again post Powell. There's a lot of things going on. The market is essentially trying to aim for a 1.9% end of year, and the question comes into mind, well, are we going to start pricing that in now? We essentially have only had a 50-point basis price in from the beginning of the year. Obviously, that is way under what they're expecting, but we have Powell that is essentially kind of playing both sides of the fence. He wants to be hawkish. He knows he needs to be somewhat hawkish, but he is testing the waters with a 25-point basis move, and we will revisit it in May, which is to believe to have another 50 points tacked on to the 25-point basis that we already have. So essentially trying to get us closer to that 1.9 by end of year. So it is really interesting to see how this is going to play out. But we do have 2 months before we get Powell in that meeting. Now, Powell will be on tomorrow, and he will be on Friday. Being said, he's going to get a lot of inflation questions, and he's going to come out and be extremely hawkish. And I believe he's going to continue to have the same story that we do need to raise. But the biggest thing to keep in mind here is that he has not eliminated bond purchases. And the reason for that being is because we still have a war going on that can still drive fear very quickly. So the last thing the Fed wants is to have fear, have essentially everybody running to the bank trying to cash out. Yes, the bank can sell loans and to try to help cash out to some of the clients, but if everybody does it at one time, can cause a crash of our financial system, our banking system. So we need to be mindful of that, and this is why the Fed is continuing to buy are continuing to purchase those assets to help the banks out, to help out our financial system. This is also my theory as to why crypto is going to have a big year this year because of this fact. Because the fear is going to be there for a while, and it does not look like Russia and Ukraine are going to resolve any issues in the current moment. So being said, we have Powell tomorrow. We'll have him early. So I think it'll bring some volatility, hopefully enough to pull us back a little bit. We really haven't had any kind of pullback. We've gone straight up since post-Powell. I foresee us pulling back somewhat to maybe the 43.95. I would like at least another tag back to the 200. Again, we don't want to go completely parabolic because of the fact if we're not testing old support levels, it could come crashing down just as fast as it went up. So we're trying to avoid that. So being said, we have to see where we stand overnight. I expect some sort of pullback kind of just going into Powell. Again, I don't really see the market coming way down like before. So again, market's still very bullish on the current sentiment. I think for the next month, I think we'll be very bullish, considering for the past about almost 3 months, we've had a very bad couple months trying to price some of that in. Bitcoin is still holding well. This is something I've been talking about. Your gold is not holding. There was a lot of people placing big bets on gold, that gold was going to run away with everything coming into the pandemic. And, I think it was surprised everybody that people would much rather buy Bitcoin than buy gold, digital assets. And with third world countries, you're starting to see that more. It makes more sense to buy cryptocurrency than buy gold because gold can be stolen, where cryptocurrency can be stolen. But again, it is a much harder feat to try to get that currency, that cryptocurrency. So I believe it is going to really make some waves this year and going to establish itself and become more stable. I think it is slowly doing that. We're slowly starting to see that mass adoption. So I just believe those are bigger drivers. Again, we still need to break that 45K to really start going again. Again, once your major cryptocurrencies, your Bitcoin goes and pushes, then you're going to get it. And then once it stalls and starts to come down, then you'll get your ETH run, and then you'll get a lot of the different smaller cryptocurrencies like Solana and Cardano, and those other ones will start to push at that point. So it would be an interesting year, again, in my opinion. Now for stock picks, again, as always, Tesla has made a massive move, essentially since this post-Powell run. We are hitting 1K. I do see us coming into a lot of resistance here. So I do believe that we are going to get some kind of pullback. I don't believe we're just going to continue to push up. Looking at some of the dailies, I think it's better to look at a lot of these in the dailies. I really want Tesla to come back. If Tesla can come back and hit 908, I think we're going to get a massive bounce out of this and pushing up. I'm thinking towards the end of the week, we might actually start selling off a little bit. Can we get back down to 908? I think right now it's going to be hard. With this massive turnaround, people are going to pile in to Tesla. So kind of waiting for this thing to come down a little bit and see where we go from there. UPST is actually really interesting. It had some bad news today, essentially saying that people, that loans weren't getting paid. And so, with the pandemic and everything going on, with work and everything, so we had some massive selling this morning, but we popped straight out of this zone, this 111, straight back up. We are retesting the 50 here. If we can hold above this tomorrow, I want to actually take a position in this because I think this could start reversing a lot, especially with earnings. We got 2 more weeks, and then this Q1 quarter will be over for the year, and then we'll start Q1 earnings, going into Q1 earnings next month, starting with banks, and then towards the end of the month or early May, we should start getting big tech again. So that's just right around the corner. And so again, I think this one's going to have another parabolic move. Again, it destroyed earnings and has been held down. All these companies have been held down because of this price in of the Fed in rate raises in anticipation. Now we got it. Now we kind of know time frames and what's going on. The market likes that. That's very bullish, in my opinion, for the market. Again, the market has been playing a guessing game for way too long, and right now you're starting to see that effect, is that it is starting to go parabolic. Now, again, unless something really dramatically happens with the war, I think we're going to continue to see this bull run in the market, at least until the next rate raise. So UPST, so I wanted to break, again, that the 128 mark. If we can get a candle above that tomorrow is what I'm looking for the run. A lot of these are starting to break above the 20 and the 50, which is essentially you get the break and then a retest, and on that retest is essentially when we really start going running. I think there's a lot of big moves still coming up. Amazon or Apple could be a good one here. I think there's always better moves, but if you want to, if you really want to trust the stock, Apple is one of them. But for Apple, I'm looking at that 165 mark. If we can get back to the 165 mark, that would be great for this retest of the 20 and the 50. That's when you really want to enter, if you can get that 2050 retest. And now you're getting a lot of stocks that are starting to do that. Amazon actually broke over the 200s. You're looking at 32.31 entry for the retest. Again, when I talk about retesting, you want that first bounce on these retests. That is going to be the move. That is going to be the biggest move you're going to get. So you want that first retest. Again, you got to be careful with this one. Amazon has gone like straight up, so it could pull back a little bit more, but more than likely it should be able to hold at 32.28. That's what I'm looking for there. Shop is a big one I really want to grab. It is still lagging behind everything a lot. So really kind of watching this this 660 mark for an entry there, or a break above 14, and then this thing is really going to start getting parabolic. It's going to start making some massive moves. I think if we can start holding this, I might actually take shares in this because of that, because it might get a little volatile, try to get through some of these levels. But I think once it starts breaking out, this thing is really going to start running. And you're going to see, I think, a run to 1K very quickly, just like you did with Tesla. And then I think you'll actually see it go beyond that. This might actually be one of the bigger moves coming within the next month or so. So I definitely want to keep shop on watch. Google, massive move. I got news today that I guess some of the different, there was a lawsuit against Google with ex-employees, and I guess it got essentially Google took care of everything, and so the lawsuit went away. And nonetheless, it started, I think, this push today, and then just went absolutely parabolic. So kind of again watching this key level back down here, essentially around the 2,700 mark. Now you have to understand that Google makes about $100 moves. A lot of these bigger stocks make about $100 moves. So Google, I think I'm really waiting for that entry. Again, one of the big ones. If you have time, if you can get in some of these really good, this is why I like playing beta stocks, because if you get in some of these bigger companies that have established themselves very well, people run to those for safe havens. And so those are the ones that go absolutely parabolic during times like this. So as far as the next ones, there's a lot of really good ones here just to be mindful of. There's also chips. NVIDIA had a investor day today, although they came out and said that they were going to start purchasing more assets. Obviously, if you start purchasing more assets, in the short term, it's going to kind of hurt earnings. And the long term, it's fantastic. So you might get a little bit of short-term selling on NVIDIA. But if it does sell enough, kind of look for that 250 mark on NVIDIA. I think it'd be a really good entry. I did take a position in MU today. I do like MU, although it does need to break above this 80 mark. But I think it has earnings next week. And I think the earnings next week will allow this to get parabolic and start breaking some of these levels. Again, a really key level here to watch is that 81 mark, 82 mark. If we can gap above 82, I think this thing can really start going parabolic from that point. The biggest, again, reason why I do like MU is because all the semis have already done extremely well in earnings, and MU is like one of the dead last ones that come in. And it's funny because we got new earnings starting next month, but this is, again, one of the very last ones to report earnings. And then you turn around and then you have some of the other earnings going on. So you're not going to get the Q1 earnings for this one. You'll get Q4 for this. So that being said, you're not going to get any of the Russia-Ukraine stuff within this earnings statement. So this should actually do very well for earnings. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Square is another big one I want to watch. Again, you're getting a lot of these setups. Square, I'm really looking at this 126 mark, roughly 127 mark. We'll get a retest of that. Again, you're going to get a retest, and then you're going to, I think you could pretty much almost go parabolic, run up to this 147. Again, you got a lot of these gaps you're trying to fill. Once you hit that 200, you may stall quite a bit. Roblox, watching this floor here, as long as we can hold the 47 mark, looking for entry at 47 for a reverse on this. Again, I think this can pull its way back to 70, 72, at least for the time being. We'll have to see. I think there was a lot of hype around the metaverse when it first pumped way over 100. So right now, I'm kind of thinking it can at least get back to the 70. But again, the numbers are absolutely absurd as far as their user growth rate and the active users they have every single month, which they do come out every single month about around mid-month, and they absolutely destroy it. So a great one to pick up on this downside. Coin is another big one because I think crypto is going to start really running. If we can get an entry at the 180 mark, I think this bad boy can get back to 250 pretty easy. Again, you have to watch because it does have that ratio with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has to be pumping for coin to really get some gas on it, but I believe that is right around the corner. I do really like Airbnb, but the thing is, we did start getting a bounce off this at the 163 mark here. We could see potentially 185, but one thing about Airbnb is that it does play big ranges like this. So more than likely, I think once it hits that 180, I think that's about done for Airbnb, and then it might actually calm down from that point. Snap might be a really good one to watch here. It did I have one of my biggest concerns was essentially addressed during earnings. So they are making money good again. So tomorrow I'm kind of looking at that roughly around that 38 mark. If we can break above 38 tomorrow and hold above there, open above there, I think Snap could be a really good play tomorrow as well. Planter, I've talked about this one. Watching this, so essentially that one, we'll go 1360. If we can get above 13, open above 1360 tomorrow, get that retest. I think this again can go parabolic. I think this can easily make its way back to about the $20 mark. So another big one, especially these lower cap ones, are really good to get in because they make some massive moves. And if you're looking at from here, essentially up to the 200, that's about a 30% move right there in itself. That beats normal earnings for a whole year, or normal account growth in a year right there. If you catch one of these moves with even a partial part of your account. So just be mindful of that. This is why I like going after big companies that have good fundamentals. And then when you have times like this and they start to recover, that's when I like to grab them up. So that's pretty much what I got. I don't want to make this video too long. We still got a whole other week. We got Powell tomorrow. Tomorrow may be a pullback week, so we have to see how that is. I want to see where the entries are tomorrow. But be mindful, be nimble, and I will see you guys later.